Hey guys, it's your most of the host, Marty. One word for you guys. Moist. How did that make you feel? Weird? Awkward? Good? For some reason, whenever that word is said, people, as though compelled to do so by some unseen force, will feel a bit weird. I've never really been affected by the word, so I wouldn't understand it at all. But please, do feel free to leave a comment describing just how the word moist makes you feel. I'm taking a break from writing Sanctuary for the rest of the night, because I wanted to tell you guys all about a friend of mine. She's funny, she's kind, she's gorgeous, and that's just the bare minimum when it comes to describing who she is. Usually, I would try to look for the good in people, ignoring subtle negatives about them so that I can see them in a better light. With her, I don't even need to do that. Everyone has their own flaws, but hers are definitely not in her social capabilities. I haven't known her to be rude to the people she talks to, and she doesn't belittle people. She talks to everyone as if they'd been her friend, since forever. She's just such an amazing person to have as a friend. I really do love her to bits. She's from Australia. Usually, just mentioning that someone is from Australia would cause me to think twice about wanting to make them my friend. Most Australians I've met are obnoxious, ill-mannered, bad-tempered, impatient, and unable to believe that there are others in the world who are better than they are at certain things. It goes without saying that not all Australians are like that. My friend proving to be an Australian who is not like that. If you're from Australia and you're listening to this and you're saying to yourself, "This cunt doesn't even know what he's on about," please, don't be stereotypical and jump straight to the conclusion that that is how I feel about all Australians. I'm sure there are plenty of good Aussie blokes and gals over there. I'm simply saying that most of the Australians I've met are as I've said. Have you ever noticed your hands making gestures as you talk? It's as if waving your hands up and down, side to side, or around in a circle will allow you to convey your point across to the other person 100 times better than you could if you weren't using your gestures. I caught myself using gestures while talking to my friend the other day, and I just found it so funny as to what sort of things my hands were doing. We were talking about potential business ideas and starting up a small business. We touched briefly on subtopics like whether or not to lease a shop, how big the shop should be, what sort of atmosphere would the business have. All of this was over Skype call, so we weren't actually face to face. That's another reason as to why I thought it was so funny when I caught myself using gestures as if you were right there in front of me. Needless to say, it got me thinking about human-to-human interaction, body language. What sort of things allow us, humans, to understand each other even if we don't speak the same tongue, or speak at all? Using very common actions with our bodies to try and convey a message to someone who might not understand what you're saying, we can still converse in a sense, and get that message across. A typical example would be if I used my hand to repeatedly dig into something, then move it to my face. Trying to picture that, wouldn't you agree that I was trying to say something along the lines of eating? Taken from Wikipedia, body language is a form of mental and physical ability of human nonverbal communication consisting of body posture, gestures, facial expressions, and eye movements. Humans send and interpret such signals almost entirely subconsciously. What if these said signals weren't as obvious as the example I used before? Picture, if you will, a couple in their 20s sitting on a sofa in front of a TV watching a movie. Go ahead, choose a genre for yourself and make this a bit more interesting for you to picture. The couple are already close together, and the girl is leaning her head towards the boys. The boy is sitting slanted slightly, as he's trying to make it easier for the girl to be closer to him without making it too uncomfortable for himself. The girl has her right arm wrapped around his left, and has her other arm resting on the left hand so that it isn't just floating there. The boy's other arm is free and is being used to eat popcorn with. The girl nudges the boy a little and opens her mouth. You're probably thinking to yourself, she must want the popcorn. But why do you think that? Why is it that the movement of a nudge and her mouth opening symbolize her wanting to be fed popcorn? No words, no prior notice. It is simply the atmosphere in which they were in, and the ability of the human mind to interpret those signals I just mentioned. All of this is just so interesting, and I always think of this sort of thing when I'm trying to fall asleep. Yeah, I end up sleeping 5 hours later. Have you guys ever bought something for someone, thinking that they were going to absolutely love it, and your gift was the best idea that anyone in the world could have thought about buying, only to find out that they don't even want it? Someone I know recently found out that a gift I had spent quite a bit of time on making was being sold on an internet auction website. I thought it was hilarious at first, but soon realized that it was nothing to laugh at. I've never actually thought about whether or not people keep the gifts I give them, if I ever give them anything. What do they do with the gifts, if they keep them? Or how fast did they manage to get rid of them? I really never cared about what they did with the things I gave them. After hearing that person talking to their friend about how they were so devastated when they saw it on the website, I got to thinking about the more expensive gifts that I had given, and what might have happened to them since. I don't really have anything to say about this topic, but I just wanted to bring it to light. Maybe you could do a little bit of tracking and find out what your friends have done with the gifts that you've given them. I personally would be surprised to find a gift I had bought someone that was worth like, $50? Being auctioned off for $20 on a website. They could have just given me back the gift, and I'd give them $20 instead. Anyway, I'm getting super thirsty. You know what that means. Here's a song to listen to while I go get something to drink. It's Passive People with their song, Daydream.
Well, there's time to make it something, and I want it. There was a look I felt you give it, stood beside that wondering to it. It's a wasted heart that stands alone unnoticed.
Welcome back to M-Products. I'm Marty, and that was Passive People, an indie alternative rock band with their song, Daydream. I can't seem to find any information on them, because they're just that underground. Yeah. Note to self, never make hipster jokes again. Too lame. On the topic of daydreaming though, when I was a kid, I would always get into trouble in school for not listening to the teacher. I remember one time, having the teacher slam his hands down on my kiddie desk to get my attention, and his face was right next to mine. He must have been having a really terrible day to have to resort to intimidating a kid for being, well, a kid. I think the habit of daydreaming has stuck with me through the years though. Even at work, my mind will simply float off into a world beyond my reach, and according to my coworker, I'll just slow right down until I get nudged or something brings me back to the real world. She has such a nice smile. Talking about smiling, wow. I just want to tell you guys something that I did recently. I put a photo on M-Products' Tumblr page for you guys to see. The link to the M-Products Tumblr page is in the description below. Please do check it out. Well, 2 nights ago, after I had finished recording the first podcast, I went onto my personal Facebook to see if any of my friends had left me a message or if there were any interesting statuses to read. There was nothing. So getting bored, I thought of something completely genius! Random compliment night. What's that? It's just as it sounds. Everyone that was online and showing on my chat list received a small message from me saying, person's name, "You're looking great." I hadn't expected much more than just a response from some of them saying thanks or haha, yeah right. What I got in return was so much more amazing than I could have ever thought of. Just by giving all these people, some of which I haven't even talked or messaged to in years, a small compliment, I had made their nights, put a smile on their face, given them someone to talk to, reassured them that they were special in some way. Their replies were all varied, but none of them were negative in any way. And they didn't suspect me of wanting something else. Most of them simply accepted the compliment, asked me how I was, tried to make a bit of small talk before going back to their usual activities. I didn't only compliment the girls either, I complimented everyone that was online on my chat list that night. The confused replies were so funny. By the end of it, I was so glad that I went through with my idea, even if it was, at the start, just a way to cure myself of boredom. Why did I mention this? Well, I believe in making people smile. I think that smiles are the best gift that you can give someone. Okay, so a couple $1 million would be pretty sweet, but let's not get technical. I keep hearing that being kind is so uncommon these days that it can be mistaken for flirting or making a move. How the world became like that, I don't even want to know. What I do want to know is that even if that is the case, there's still a chance that the world will change again, and hopefully people won't think that a small compliment or a kind gesture is someone trying to get into their pants. My friend from Australia would know a lot about that sort of thing. She's simply one of the kindest people I know. She really loves to help people, and all she's really after is a little credit and gratitude. Not everyone is expecting $1 million every time they hold a door open for you. It's often just a kind gesture, deserving of a small thank you or a smile. Plenty of things to say and so little time to mention them. This was Marty from M-Products, hopefully leaving you with a small smile on your face or a warmer heart. Keep smiling.